False memory, real event. I talked a bit about that in the taboo and harm and other places. Really, the compulsions of the issue. False memory, we are going over the memory over and over. It's getting all confused because of anxiety, doubt, distress. Intrusive thoughts are popping up. You can implant false memories in anyone. They've done these psychological experiments. You can do this. So the same mechanism is happening to us. So what we need to do is not trust that memory is an accurate, full picture, and not believe that by reviewing a memory it gets clearer. It actually gets more confused, more uncertain. So we have to try to accept that we don't know for certain and that the compulsions aren't working, and to try to move forward with our life. We um, also need to have a lot of self-compassion, because everyone I've ever worked with false memory real event is being very harsh, lots of shame, holding themselves to a very high standard, not realizing human nature and that people are flawed and that we can learn and grow through experiences, and we're not the same person we were in the past, and we can change and evolve and grow, and that all humans have things that they feel cringe or feel a mistake, or even more serious mistakes. People have those and live with them. And the compulsions, the judging, the analyzing, the going over it, the believing our memories, the low insight because we're going over and over it. With the real event, it's like often we're just viewing it from such a narrow perspective. We're not seeing this bigger perspective of the culture, the people around us, the age we're at, the stresses and factors, the lack of education, the lack of support, the commonality of certain behaviors, how many people are doing the same things. Like, we're not seeing that big picture. And so we're judging it very harshly and from a narrow perspective. And we need to bring in compassion to all of that, and then try to practice moving forward and take the values. We're going over these memories because we care about people. Well, take those values and live them in the present. Start being there for our friends, our family, caring for others, volunteering, getting out there, doing supportive things. A real event, OCD can really trap us and make us believe that something was awful and that there's no way around it. And, when that's extreme, we're going to need a therapist to help us with that. But that really happens from the mental compulsions, from this biased perspective, from this lack of self-compassion that often has a long history. We might have a long history of why we're hard on ourselves, from critical, abusive parents, difficult school experiences, peer experiences, relationship experiences. There are reasons often why we're more prone to shame. So working on all of that with self-compassion, and realizing that we can move on. We can, it can become like a stuck thought one as well, where the senses, the hyper awareness, and the stuck thought is we can't live with this being there forever. But actually, OCD will do that on all kinds of things. Your brain will tell you it's different because something happened, or it's a memory or whatever, but really it's the same thing, that we have to learn to live with that distress and discomfort, and then it will fade. And it may be that we always feel healthy guilt about it. And, like, I've got many things in my life I can look back on and feel, if it was me now, I wouldn't be doing them like that. But it wasn't me. I was a younger version of me that didn't know what I know now, and wasn't supported with certain things. And so I can forgive my younger self, and I don't have to feel like that's stuck, but I can still think about those memories and they might feel uncomfortable. And actually, every human alive has the same experience. You might feel yours is more significant and dramatic, but there will be many, many people with exactly the same real event OCD going on. You're not alone, and you wouldn't judge all of them as harshly. And if you really feel you've made a mistake, well, how do people cope from making mistakes? They make meaning of their life. They try and help others. They try and turn that suffering into a learning point. And they show up, and they try and feel accountable to make a difference in the world and improve the world. That's how people, I'm not talking there of people with real event. I'm talking, clients who really done things they regret. I've worked with, say gang members that had actually stabbed people, or, other people, who'd had car accidents and killed people and things like that. Well, yeah, that stuff hangs over someone for the rest of their life, but they learn to live with it by making meaning out of their life, and maybe they become um, more egalitarian and more altruistic because of those experiences, and they try and improve the world. And like some of these gang members went and did these programs when they talked to youth, young people, and tried to steer them away from that kind of life. And so there will be some people who listen to this that may feel they've have real events in more that category. Well, like people without OCD, can you make a difference in this world, not as a compulsion or a self-punishment, but as a values-based move, that you've learned from the mistake and you move on. Now, there'll be people with much milder real event that are triggered by me saying that. Well, if you're getting confused by what I'm saying now, you need a therapist, you need someone to help you unpack this and work out, how do you move on from these experiences.